So 3, and we're going to go ahead and open up this meeting of the Hood County Development Commission. This is a regular called meeting, and Nat, do you mind opening us in prayer?
Sure. All right, Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for your Son who died for our sins. Thank you for the opportunity to come together in a public setting and give you the glory. Give us courage, give us discernment, give us wisdom. Help us to glorify you in the things that we have been called to steward, including this great county. We thank you for these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. All right, and we'll do the pledge to the United States. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
To the state of Texas.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right. Any citizen open comments? I don't have any so far. Let's see, I've got one. Is that it? Anyone else? All right. Mr. Metter, if you want to go ahead and come on up and speak.
Oh,
Yes.
it seems like it is.
Yeah, yours is. This one's a little muted.
Members of the commission, I appreciate the time to speak with you this evening. I haven't had much chance to review the information that I wanted to present to you tonight, but there's something else that we may want to consider getting into our regulations. And bear with me because I got to pass it off. And it refers to Texas Local Government Code 233.061, giving the county authority to enact regulations for unincorporated areas of counties. The precursor to this is that the county has to be adjoining a county that has a population of 250,000 or more, which Hood County does border Tarrant County for a small section, but it does have a small touch to Tarrant County. So that would give us the authority to adopt the International Fire Code, which would put more regulations on commercial and industrial. That's something that, like I said, we might want to look into. That would, this is something that's been proposed in 2 different counties. One that adjoins Bear County, I think it might have been Milam, not really sure. It's in the writing I have here, but I haven't had a chance to research very much.
What was 232?
233.061.
Okay, 233. Let me, because I'm trying to pull that up so we can look at it while you're talking about it.
And the other thing, Bosque County just enacted this because they adjoin McLennan County, which is Waco, and they adopted the International Fire Code, which gave them the ability to do some things that pertains to BES and some other things like that. Now, by doing so, they hired a fire marshal. I guess they didn't have one, but they need to have somebody to regulate the fire code, the International Fire Code, in that county, and that way they could address things specific to BES systems and large-scale commercial and industrial development. If I can get contact information for everybody, I would be glad to email the document that I have. I didn't have time to get them all printed out, and it printed very small. So anybody, if Christine, if you want me to email it to you, I'll get your email address, and then you can forward it to everybody, or Matt, whichever. I don't know how much this will give us as far as regulatory power.
Who publishes the International Fire Code?
Yes.
Who publishes it? Like, who created that document?
Who created the document? The International Fire Code is, has to do with like the NFPA 844, 855, whatever that is, and it's a different number. And there's some other things in the International Fire Code that go a step further than what our National Fire Code is. That was a 2024 update on the International Fire Code.
And who published that? Like, who puts that out there?
I'm not a fireman, I don't know the fire stuff.
I can answer that if you like. Yeah, so the National Fire Protection Association, the NFPA, generates a series of codes and standards, applies. Normally, it's made up of a bunch of industry specialists. They have a consortium, get together every year. They put together a set of standards which are adopted by U.S. regulations. If you look at almost any U.S. regulation associated with transportation of flammable materials, building codes, they reference the NFPA. NFPA are developed by industrial specialists.
And do they do the international one as well?
Yes, the NFPA is pretty much, I wouldn't say completely global. A lot of Europeans have accepted it as well as, but they have converted to what they call an EU standard. So they have their own fire protection, but they pretty much reference the NFPA where some is applicable. Other countries like Japan and parts of Asia do not. do not follow NFPA. It's pretty much started as a U.S. standard, adopted by the Middle East, adopted by Latin America, and Europe and U.S. have sort of made an alignment together.
So instead of being NFPA, it'd be IFC, the International Fire Code. So that some of the things that they would address, and this is specific, the document I'm reading is specific to the Cyrus 1 that's going in Boston County. Some of the things you can do is look at your electrical energy storage systems, and then of course your NFPA 55, NFPA 75, and 76 goes into that. And then the IFC can also do your flammable combustible liquids, fuel storage. So, I mean, it has some stricter standards on some things, and they overlap with NFPA on a lot of other things. It's just, it does have some extra teeth to it that may be a little bit more stringent than NFPA, which is the National Fire Protection.
And what did you say, we'd have to be in an agreement with the contiguous county?
Yeah, we have to.
Over 250,000.
I
We don't have to be in agreement with it.
Yeah, I don't think we need an agreement. We can
We just have to
we have the ability.
We have to.
adopt it.
Oh, okay.
Because in 233, you have to be adjoining a county that has a population of 250,000 or greater.
Which we did.
Parker, Johnson?
Well, we touched Tarrant.
Tarrant.
And Tarrant has obviously more than 250,000.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think Johnson does, EREF does not, Somerville does not, Parker, I
Yeah,
don't
it's
think does
possibly
either.
Tarrant County.
It just, that small portion where we do touch Tarrant County
Okay.
would authorize us under the Texas Local Government Code to adopt that additional fire standards in the unincorporated areas of the county specific to commercial and industrial development.
Great.
Just something to think about. And anybody who wants this, I will email you this. Now, this is just article specific to Bosque County, but it kind of goes through a little bit of it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it does reference in here the local government code 233-061.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give you county clerk at hoodcounty.texas.gov. County clerk at Hood County.
All one word.
Dot Texas spelled out, .gov. Yeah, get it shared out.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Ken. Anyone else? I didn't have any other forms for open comments.
I didn't sign it.
Yes.
Oh, you're on the agenda.
Okay, good.
Oh, I have open comments.
Do you have a form? Do you do a form for me?
I'll do a form.
Okay. You can go on up there. I trust you to fill it out after the fact.
Okay, did you get my file?
I hadn't gotten it. You emailed it to me and I hadn't seen it just yet. It's been over an hour. You sent it when you said you'd sent it.
Want to do this with me?
No, go ahead, I'll follow up. I'm fine.
What we're going to talk about, Mike Hudzik came up with this. I want to give him all credit. It is FAA 7460-1, and it's a construction or alteration requiring notice to the FAA concerning airport environments. So an airport environment is based upon the length of the runway. So at 3,200 feet or less, it's going to be 3,200 feet or greater, it's going to be 20,000 feet away. That's 3.78 miles from the closest place to the airport. So that's a significant distance. Less than 3,200 feet in length, it's a 10,000 foot distance. And it's not a radius, it's a distance. So from the closest point to the airport, it's that distance. So we have
What was
15
that,
airports.
what's that number again?
It's 14 CFR. It's not an advisory, just type in 14 CFR,
Okay.
Yes,
part
and
77.
the form is 7460-1.
Yeah, it references it in there.
Okay, so
It's
just
part
to,
77.
to give you some context, Texas is the leading aviation location in the entire world. We have the largest general aviation fleet, we have the largest corporate aviation fleet. We have 400 public use airports, we have many thousands of private airports. So aviation is huge, we have a lot of OEMs pertaining to the aviation industry in Texas as well. Hood County and Somerville County combined have 15 airports. The airports in Hood County with greater than 3,200 feet of runway include Granbury Regional Airport. It's not a municipal airport anymore, it's a regional airport. We also have Borland Field, which is longer than 3,200 feet. And we have the runway at Pecan Plantation, which is longer than 3,200 feet. We have 2 runways, okay, that are longer than 3,200 feet. A nice fact that I learned from Mr. Hudzik is that there are going to be 800 airplanes based at Pecan. So I came from a very large private aviation airport up in the Metroplex, and it only had 400. So 800 is huge. Plus, we have the runway extension to 5,000 feet at the Granbury Airport. Down in Somerville County, there's a private airport that has, I think, 4,200 feet. So I did a little mapping exercise for all of us because the hazards to aviation include exhaust plumes, heat plumes, glare, EMR radiation that would possibly interfere with communications, we don't know. Those 200-foot tall transmission towers that are like a 15-story building, plus the transmission lines. So, you know, I didn't put the photo of the plane that hit the transmission lines in Maryland. I didn't want to put that in there, but it does happen on occasion. You'll see accidents like that. So the problem for us is that down at Comanche Peak Nuclear Power Plant, just outside the gate, there's something called the dinosaur switch. And so the dinosaur switch is the meeting point for the Dinosaur Longshore line, that's 234 lines, 760 kV power lines with 200-foot towers all the way out to Forest Ann, Texas, West Texas. But coming into that switch, we've got what's coming up from the south, what's coming into us from the Metroplex area, because a 765 kV line goes both ways. So the power comes in and the power goes out. There are a grand total of 4 lines that come in, major lines. So there's going to be a huge EMR field there near Comanche Peak. Why does that affect us? Because at the Granbury Airport, did you find the presentation?
It hasn't come through the email.
Oh, it didn't?
Uh-uh.
Okay, that's okay, I can talk about it. So at the Granbury Airport, we have an approach. And an instrument approach sets the pilot up to fly in the clouds and to gradually descend to the airport environment. So our approach, the initial approach fix for it, where you enter the approach, is out at Comanche Peak Nuclear Power Plant. And you're going to come into that anywhere, you're going to be flying in a range of 6,000, 3,000 feet. And you're going to hit that initial approach fix. And then you're going to have a time distance with which to get down to the runway. So that's like generally over Comanche Circle. It's over Dinosaur Switch, and it's coming down the hill, and then you're going to hit Project Patriot. So what do you have at Comanche Circle? You have exhaust plumes, you have data center, you have everything. Project Patriot, same thing. So let's move over to Pecan. So from Pecan, that distance measures, you land right on top of Wolf Hollow. You have Wolf Hollow 3, you have red and yellow, you have all of that. I sent that at 4:54 p.m.
I know,
So-
I don't know why it hasn't come through.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's a PDF file. I checked it, said it's in. But anyway, so the projects that would be in consideration here would include Rain Lily, Lydian, Apache Hill, Red and Yellow. All of those pertain to the Pecan Plantation scenario. What pertains to the Granbury Airport is Patriot. What pertains to the Comanche Circle and the Black Mountain comes off of a small airport, the Flying M for Comanche Circle. And then there's I think it's called Tres Rios down in Somerville, that's going to impact the Black Mountain. So this is nothing to, it's that conversation, it's that last conversation. It's that last conversation we were in, Christine.
This one here? Yeah, this was having to do the exhaust concerns, is this it?
Yes, it's
Oh,
in that
okay.
conversation, and I gave you a new attachment today.
Okay,
So anyway, I'll just show you that because pretty much you have the information now. So I'm going to propose to the Development Commission that you accept the 7460-1 as an evaluative step that must be completed for any large-scale project within Hood County. It's extremely important. We don't want to be not following our duties. The FAA relies on local government, local municipalities to enforce the regulations. So, yeah, okay, there's that.
was there something new in this one, the exhaust concerns? Or was that?
It's on that string. Let me just, I can look on my phone. But anyhow, what I did was I took a sectional map and I identified the airports with the longest runways, and then I drew the lines out, and that's how I hit on which projects are affected. Okay, so that was the method, very simple method. Then there's another gentleman in town named Mr. Mears, M-E-A-R-N-S, who wrote a letter to the Public Utility Commission about exhaust plumes and electromagnetic radiation impacting this approach at the Granbury Airport. So I told him, I said, well, that is the PUC with the transmission towers. I don't know what we can do about that, so to speak. But all I can say to the state of Texas is, we're not India, we're not China, we're the world's leader in aviation, and we should protect that. So I hope this is helpful, and I have the 7460 here for you, and you'll find that file at some point. Thank you.
Okay, I didn't have any other citizen speakers.
Sorry, too late? That's okay.
Quickly.
I can do it next time. I didn't know the system very well.
No, go ahead, we're here, we're a little more informal here.
I'll try to be quick and brief. My name is Mark Bailey. I've been following, probably like most citizens, the amount of data centers that are proposed to be built in Hood County. Of course, the data centers that are being proposed to be built all over the United States. And I'm an engineer for quite a few years and been involved in a lot of these developments. and I have a good idea what it takes. I'm not sure how well prepared communities are and local governments are for essentially the onslaught. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. What I'm seeing is a lack of preparedness in order to make sure that these are facilitated properly and the citizens are getting something they would probably be happy with. So in doing some of this research, I've looked U.S. standards. I've already known them pretty well, government standards, Texas standards, and some of the commission's regulations. And what I found is to be extremely inadequate for a fairly significant scope of work for just one data center. You can imagine a lot. And if not properly managed, there's going to be a lot of unhappy citizens. So what I'm proposing is, one of the things would be ideal if you would create a zone that would be just a data center zone, as like Zone D, whatever it is. There's a lot of unique and specific things about data center that do not apply to other industrials, and most people don't understand. Some of those, for example, is your internet service. These guys are data hogs to the extreme. And if the surrounding area is not prepared to accommodate that amount of data traffic, everybody's going to suffer. They put up an awful lot of lighting, massive amount of lighting. And is this what you want to see as you're outside of your backyard? There's an aura of this big white cloud that obstructs the sky. That's what you're going to end up getting. People say they're water hogs, yet there is technology today where there is what they call zero water. It exists. And I would think that if this is something that we're proposing, this is what we would be looking at. But unless you lay out some of these regulations, that's not what you're going to get. You're going to get the other. Why? Because it's a lot less expensive. And that's one of the reasons. They're going to try to drive the cost down, even though they're making down the money, with probably poor, I would call a C or a D class installation. You're not going to get an A class. And if it was me and Granbury, I'd want to see an A class. So what I was thinking was, okay, maybe a Zone D, which is here are the regulations or requirements for an owner to put in a data center, in which he would instruct his engineering company, this is what we have to do in the considerations. And they would be much more comprehensive than what I'm saying. I mean, I see in the basic regulations, there's a conceptual plan, there is a development plan. Folks, for these things, there's normally probably a dozen or more very significant plans. There's an electrical plan. There's a water plan. There's a road and temporary construction plan, which is another one of those things, my pet peeves. These guys will come in with data centers, they're going to come in with 1,000 workers. Where are they going to live? But even if they were put up temporary housing, or we would accommodate the temporary housing, what do you do with it after they're gone? This is what they call sustainability. And some industries in the United States follow that very well. The mining companies, for example. You can't dig a big mine and leave that hole there. You have to restore that hole back to a condition. The same thing should happen for any temporary work, which is construction. You let them come in, and when they leave, you make sure that whatever they leave with looks better than when they first came in. So again, back to what I would think would be a mechanism to do this would be to have very specific regulations around data centers. And I could go on the list. And here's how I've got two colleagues, one in Arkansas, one in Georgia, that are doing just the exact same thing. All pro bono work is providing a series of guidelines and procedures and policies and regulations for these guys to follow. Right? We're not the only state in the entire country. Again, we've got a team of us around the United States looking at these. Is Virginia. And Virginia, probably because it's so close to the U.S. government, has a very, very, you can look it up, they have probably 10, 15 documents, maybe more, of these are the regulations to put a data center in the communities within Virginia. So I'm thinking that we could be leaders and do the same thing here, start here, and maybe help some of the other communities in Texas. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, forms, so we're going to go ahead and move on to approve the minutes from our last meeting. I've given you all a draft. And if you've had a chance to look over that, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I will make that motion.
Okay. All right, we've got a motion to approve and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
Since I wasn't present, I'm not right at the meeting to do that.
Well, you've got the draft in front of you, though.
But I was.
Okay, then I'll do a 3-0. Okay, the next item on the agenda is to receive a presentation from Bob Slater regarding the Apache Hill BESS facility.
It's very kind of you.
Yeah. And let me get you a picture.
Can I say something?
Absolutely, yeah.
I just wanted to add that Bob gave most of this presentation, or I don't know, maybe a third of it, I don't know, at Commissioner's Court.
And so I'm not going to repeat all of that again.
Well, I just think the information you have is very important, and I think it needs to be on public record, and so appreciate you coming.
For the gentleman who just made some comments about the area being designated, it would seem to me that what we need is an overall plan which is coordinated between Hood County and the City of Granbury and the Chamber of Commerce, and has a sense of what it wants to be in view of its history, what kind of legacy does it want to leave behind. I don't think that legacy is of an industrialized community, which it seems to be the direction right now that we're headed in. But let me wrap up a little bit on this presentation I made a week ago, whatever it was, on 2727 Mandarino Highway. Many of you kind of go down this road from time to time, and that is the Rainbow Daycare Center, which has 50 students on average, and all preschool, and as well 10 full-time employees, and situated next to as, by the way, that was built in 1998. The new owners came on in 2007. A lovely couple, by the way. This is the BESS unit. That is a battery storage unit. And that is situated, by the way, immediately in front of a electrical substation, and there are power lines in the same vicinity, significant ones. But my major concern, and it's a human one, you're talking about, on average, 50 youngsters, 10 staff people, and you're talking about a distance, let's say the football field perhaps, and nearby you have a development, and as well, not too far away, less than a mile, you have an educational institution, 1 through 12. And all of those are in some ways at risk, because what you're looking at here is really the possibility of a thermal runaway fire. That to me is a significant risk, and I think what came about in 25 was a fire outside of San Francisco. I'm not sure the exact location, but it was a major fire, and created a movement or relocation of at least 1,500 to 2,000 people. And frankly, it may still be burning today. The fire suppression capabilities of the fire departments involved was insufficient to really deal with a thermal runaway fire. And therein lies, I think, the real test. Thermal energy, so to speak, comes out of the space age. And we've all seen the explosive fires of rockets taking off from time to time. And that's pretty sad. But that essentially is what could happen, might happen even here. And I don't think there is anywhere in the world that 7 volunteer fire departments can deal with a thermal
runaway fire. They could sit here and say, well, representationally, yeah, we can do that. No, they can't. It is, we're going to move a water hydrant nearby, but water is not the response to a thermal runaway fire. That's known, that's established. So here you have a daycare center which doesn't have an evacuation plan yet drafted by Hood County. It has a evacuation plan drafted for the not too far away nuclear plant, but this is a different story. If it were an explosion, as opposed to just a fire, it could wipe out all of your transportation. Then what? What are you going to do now? The kid's going to run. Is a less than 1-year-old going to run out? Are you going to read the evacuation plan to that youngster? I walked in the place and there were 2 little toddlers, and it's just amazing. I mean, you look around and you ask yourself, what is going on here? Why can't we realize the danger and the threat of a nearby battery storage unit? And why can't the state realize that if the state, in fact, dictated it? My question before is, did Hood County approve that? And I still don't have an official answer on that, but I don't think Hood County approved that. It was just instituted, and Hood County then became responsible for the follow-up to be certain that things would be taken care of. And that would include access to water and so on. But you got to ask yourself, if fire suppression is one of our major responsibilities in dealing with the safety of these youngsters, 50 people on average, 10 staff, how can we confidently say we can do that? We can't. We simply can't. And if Jeff were here, I think Jeff is doing everything he can to be accommodated, but there's a point at which you have to be able to say no. Can't do that. We cannot, with 7 volunteer fire departments, with no hazmat capabilities, with no chemical retardants, which he has yet to identify, that can deal with a fire of this size. Can he basically correct the issue or deal with it promptly? Can't even tell me how long would it take any one of those units to get to the fire? Who is monitoring the fire? How is it monitored? I'm told that one person supposedly in the building nearby, which is labeled Suncor, I'll get to that in a second, or Sungrow, excuse me. Is there one person monitoring it? How much time do you have when that fire is identified? It goes on and on through a series of missteps, miscalculations on the part of the state, of ERCOT, and perhaps of Hood County. I don't know. But insofar as Sungrow is the major provider of equipment. The containers that you see in this building nearby, these units, these shipping containers, I can refer to them. Sungrow is a Chinese company located in Guangdong, China, if I have that correctly, and has manufactured products throughout, the whole evolution now of battery energy units. But the point is, they're Chinese-made products. They have a close relationship with another Chinese company that, I want to say CALT, I believe is the name they go by. But, are we stripping those products down to find out what's inside the product? I don't think so. We're going on a representation that these are American products inside a Chinese exterior. And it seems to me that we just haven't done our due diligence in following this trail of speed, so to speak, to deal with a grid problem, a perceived grid problem. And some people would even question whether the grid itself needs that speed at the present time. We're preparing for the future of having 30 million people in the DFW area. And that's always put out there as the goal and the objective. This project should have been killed and stopped. It should be stopped now. I realize it's built out. It's virtually on the verge of being finished, I would say, at the end of June, early July. In my opinion, if Jeff could kind of just dig in his heels and say, we're not going to improve this, because it just doesn't meet the standards of good fire suppression for so many reasons. You can't get the response time in terms of identifying the fire, getting to the fire, having the right retardant, so to speak, to deal with it. You can't make this up. I mean, it kind of is a laundry list of mistake after mistake in terms of what needs to be done. And we're talking about 50 children. Is that what this county wants to be responsible for? 50 kids, let alone the 10 staffers. And you never know if you're dealing with an explosion or a thermal fire one way. That's serious stuff. Those are things I wanted to perhaps repeat. But Sungrow, let me come back to Sungrow for a moment again. Sungrow is a Chinese company, and under our so-called security infrastructure, however that's labeled, we are not to deal with anyone from China, Iran, Russia, who manufactures products and places them in the United States. And for some reason, we are. Sungrow, with its name right on the outside, I mean, they haven't been shy about advertising themselves. I mean, you know, I'm surprised they don't have light kind of on the whole thing at night to show us that, hey, we're here. So China's here, okay? I mean, you can't make this up. I just think we have got to do something to deal with an obvious problem. The problems are bigger than that. Coming back to the gentleman who talked about the engineering specifications and those requirements, I absolutely agree. But, you know, we need some goals to deal with the total area of what Hood County wants to be in the context of its historical evolution. And I'll leave you with this one story. General Hood, when he was running the last of the Confederate forces in the waning days of the Civil War, he was the only general who lost 6 other generals in a 2-day period, including General Granbury, I would point out. We don't want to be in a position of losing all of the good people here. The generals, whoever we are, or the people carrying the general's food or whatever it may be, or the kids that come out of that. We've got to do something for ourselves. The only way we do it is if a fire marshal here would just say, we're not going to issue a certificate of occupancy to you. We can't do it. Thank you.
So let me just kind of piggyback off of NFPA 855. So we have called a special call meeting for next Thursday evening. I did post the agenda this afternoon. Dr. Wolford, who many of you are probably familiar with, at the request of Commissioner Samuelson, has done a very in-depth analysis of NFPA 855 and this facility's compliance. And so he'll be presenting his results and findings next Thursday night. And our Fire Marshal Jeff Young will be present as well. And so I would just encourage you all to come next Thursday. I believe we will have a quorum present, correct? At least 3 of us will be here. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing what he's laid out as far as compliance in this facility. So thank you again.
You
for
have
that.
my permission to show those pictures again today.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
So that's your development commission meeting next Thursday.
Next Thursday at 6 o'clock, we're going to do a special call meeting. Okay, let me get out of here. Okay, so next on the agenda, we wanted to discuss the moratorium and potentially bringing that back before the Commissioners Court. Matt Long had some changes that he made, suggested changes to the one that we had presented in court that unfortunately was turned down. So let me get that up real quick. And
I'll say a couple things while you're...
yes, why don't you do that, and then I've got copies for everybody.
Can you turn the volume up on that mic?
I don't know if we can. I can turn it up on myself.
Let's see. Is that an arrow thing?
No, it's an arrow. Testing.
You could go up to the,
Yeah, I could go up there. How about that?
Yeah, that. That's the Hope County. This is our.
Is that any better?
Yes, that's better.
Okay, so everyone's aware of what we've battled over the last few months, and specifically regarding the moratorium. And it seems that we do have a battle over whether we have an implied authority or an express authority. And we've had multiple lawyers on either side kind of arguing either side. And I think regardless of what the vote will end up being, I think it's our job as a development commission to put forward things and give the Commissioners Court the option to take further action in such case. And so some of the things I just wrote down over the last couple months that I think justify a moratorium. To begin with, subchapter K specifically says that without adequate development regulations, the watershed will be developed in ways that are a detriment to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare. And in my mind, that's grounds there. The fact that we do not have adequate reviews of best facilities, that similar to what Bob was just talking about, and that Mr. Wolford, Dr. Wolford is going to speak on next week. We currently have a debate over whether Chapter 232 even applies to these projects, which is what they're being reviewed under in our development department. And that currently is in litigation in courts. The fact that we've had no response from the Attorney General asking him to weigh in on subchapter K, the specific authority allowed by Hood County. The fact that there's been complete silence by the governor, and it seems that they're going to just there will be no emergency session to talk about it. They're going to let it go until the 90th legislature starts next spring. And the fact that the tech is constantly changing, that's a big one. The fact that I believe it's an unproven financial model. This is an industry that doesn't currently exist and that they're projecting forward. And the fact that every single concept plan that we have reviewed could be deemed incomplete, in my opinion, and could have been deemed incomplete in the development department prior to reaching the Commissioner's Court. The fact that a lot of these projects occur in rural districts. Obviously, the point of a rural district, where a rural district is described in our regulations, one of the things it says is that a development should improve the quality of life of residents. I don't believe that these do. Same thing with a water quality district. Many of these occur in a water quality district. It says that developments in a water quality district should enhance recreation. We currently have no director of development. That's a big deal. We currently have no judge. That's a big deal. And we currently don't have a precinct 4 commissioner because he's in the hospital. So all, in my opinion, great reasons to put forth a temporary moratorium. The amount of development that's being proposed right now in the county is unprecedented. And so I think we need to take unprecedented measures, though we would not be the first to take such measures. We would not even be the first to County Commissioner's Court to take such measures. So those are my points, and hopefully you found it by now.
Additionally, we don't have the proper trained fire department or equipment. That's important also.
Go. And that was something, we do have a couple of speakers at All That Go, but we do have the Hill County moratorium, and they have a lot of very good language in there about the inadequacy of their own emergency response to damage to the roads. And so it's, I'm wanting to incorporate much of the language in this moratorium that they did into the new version that we'd like to propose.
Health, safety, and welfare of the
Yes.
county.
Yes, exactly. So, Andrea Arnold, you wanted to speak?
Well, I could basically say the same thing that Matt said. My name is Andrea Arnold, and I live in Precinct 1 of Hood County. I'm a retired attorney. Subchapter K, under which you are operating, which I really appreciate all the work that you've done. You've done spectacular work. Contains the following words about the area that surrounds Lake Granbury and the Brazos River. Without adequate development regulations, the area and the watershed will be developed in ways that endanger and interfere with proper use of the area. The issue of a moratorium under subchapter K has come before the Commissioners Court twice before, on February the 10th and February the 24th. The request in each case was submitted to the Commissioners in writing for the limited purpose and scope specified in the moratorium. At each of those meetings, just before the Commissioners voted, a document that had not been previously disclosed as relevant to the issue was introduced into the proceedings by a commissioner, the county judge, or the county attorney, purporting to show that the imposition of a moratorium of any scope for any purpose would be an ultra vires act of the court. In legal jargon, ultra vires means beyond the legal power or authority of the court. In other words, the introduction of that material was intended to show that a temporary moratorium would be void, of no consequence, and would subject the county to litigation. I have carefully reviewed those documents, and I disagree with both the facts and the law as they are recited in those documents. I've registered my disagreement in the form of a brief submitted to the Texas Attorney General in response to the county attorney's request for an opinion. The fact that the commissioners appear to have based their previous votes on these documents that were injected into the proceedings at the last minute is very troubling. I'd like to read from section 552.001A of the Texas Government Code. Under the fundamental philosophy of the American constitutional form of representative government that adheres to the principle that government is the servant, not the master of the people, it is the policy of this state that each person is entitled, unless otherwise expressly provided by law, at all times to complete information about the affairs of government and the official acts of public officials and employees. The people, in delegating authority, do not give their public servants the right to decide what is good for the people to know and what is not good for them to know. The people insist on remaining informed so that they may retain control over the instruments they have created. The provisions of this chapter shall be liberally construed to implement this policy. The Development Commission is working very hard to update the Hood County regulations to ensure that they are adequate to protect Lake Granbury and the Brazos River watershed from being endangered by these massive and heavily resource-dependent industrial developments. At the same time, you are being asked to continue to review and process requests for permission to build these huge, unanticipated developments under regulations that were never intended to address them. Since the issue of a temporary moratorium for the limited purpose of updating regulations to ensure they are adequate under subchapter K has never received a full and fair hearing before the commissioners, I urge you to once again place the matter before the court. I believe a moratorium would be within the authority of the commissioners under subchapter K and well worth defending in a court of law if that's necessary. I also think it can reasonably be argued that the failure to enact a moratorium previously so that the current development regulations can be adequately updated to address the current unanticipated and unprecedented development plans being submitted has led and will lead to the litigation the commissioners say they are seeking to avoid.
Thank you for submitting a brief to the Attorney General and doing that. That's wonderful.
Christine,
Uh-huh.
could we encourage you to send that brief maybe to the commissioners, or at least try to address them on your position that you just stated here?
Yeah,
Sure.
Are you coming to court on Tuesday?
I think I just said everything I need to say.
We think you should reiterate it in court.
I'm not a great speaker, but.
Oh, you were wonderful.
We would love for you to come to court. 9 a.m. on Tuesday.
I tell you what, I will give you the brief and you can,
I would love to have a copy of it if you don't mind.
I will send it to you.
You know, so one of the other suits that we have going on is the Project Red and Yellow that filed in district court. And because we were bringing their plans back before we'd had it on the last commissioner's court, and they ended up, we had to remove it because they had filed for a temporary restraining order, and they've been ordered to file a motion for summary judgment. But what is at issue is whether local government code 232 applies to these types of developments, which we don't think
Well,
that they
these
do.
are issues that
So,
would be perfect to hash out during the moratorium instead of in court.
exactly, I agree. It's been one of the biggest disappointments for the commission that we
It's
were not
very disappointing.
successful.
And the way it was conducted is the most disappointing thing.
Well, yeah, the
Because
Betancourt letter
the
was,
last minute
yes.
presentation of those two
Yeah.
completely irrelevant documents
Right.
just threw the whole thing off.
yeah, no, it was an abomination. It was clearly an
Thank you.
abomination.
That's a good word, abomination.
So, and Council, one more thing. If you look around these rooms, these are the people who keep speaking time and time and time again. The commissioners that are not in agreement with the position we have taken, they don't even listen anymore.
Well, that's the
But
problem.
somebody new in your capacity to come and speak would be very valuable, I think, to the commissioners to hear. It's not the same old song and dance coming from these people. We're serious about it, and I would highly encourage you to come speak
We'll
Tuesday.
make that invitation.
Absolutely.
I will
Okay.
send you the brief.
Jim,
I'll
Bill,
send you the brief.
Jim, oh, there you are.
This is working? Okay. My name is Jim Bell. I live at Water's Edge in Granbury. Thank you for letting me speak. Van Zandt County unanimously passed a temporary moratorium halting all planned green energy projects, including battery energy storage systems, solar facilities, wind energy products within its borders. This measure was passed February 11, 2026, and was designed to allow the county to study and evaluate health, fire, safety, cybersecurity, legal compliance risk for green energy projects Van Zandt County, Texas. Provide time for the Texas Attorney General's office, who, by the way, does not make laws. He renders opinions. We need to remember that. To investigate whether projects use components from companies on the governor's prohibited entity list. Talking about China, United Arab Republics, and all that. Particularly those linked to Chinese Communist Party. To assess compliance with state laws such as the Lone Star Infrastructure Protection Act and the Critical Infrastructure Protection Act. The moratorium is time-bound and tied to the Attorney General's investigation. Hill County, Texas, an area which includes Lake Whitney, also on the Brazos Valley. The Commissioners Court voted 3-2, May 12, 2026, to impose a one-year moratorium on data center construction in unincorporated areas, becoming the first Texas county to formally pause permits for the expanding data center industry. Neither of these cases have made it through the courts yet. We should expect challenges to come. According to Hill County Precinct Chair, or Precinct Commissioner for Precinct 1, Jim Holcomb, and this is his words, not mine, the data center folks have found a sweet spot in the state that has limited regulations, limited enforcement, limited code, and they're coming faster than we can keep up with it. That's what we need the moratorium for. It came out in a town hall that I was attending last week. There's no regulations that incoming data centers have to live up to qualify. This is new territory, you know? So we really need the moratorium, if for no other reason, to establish such regulations and to work that out. And yes, there's 2 commissioners that aren't listening anymore. The Electric Reliability Council of Texas, ERCOT, recently released a forecast for the load they expect Texas grid to bear by 2032, in which they projected the data centers would be the largest culprit for quadrupling the current numbers. They said data centers alone could possibly increase from a demand of around 10,000 megawatts this year to around 235,000 within 6 years. The Public Utility Council of Texas, PUCT, decided those numbers were too high and sent ERCOT away to create a more pleasant forecast. What? Why do I feel like we're being snookered here?
Yes, we are.
This move is entirely political, folks. The permit that Bilateral Energy received for Knox Ranch is a standard permit. It is not a specific use permit. So it has the least things, the fewest amount of things it has to live up to. A specific use permit, requiring them to get specific use permit, will cause them to jump through more hoops. I think that's a realistic goal here. And it's not much, but we don't have much to play with here. Anyway, Bilateral Energy's standard permit is for a 1,200 megawatt power plant. I'm not an electrical engineer. I don't know how many homes that would power, but given the fact that it's one of 12 and 13 certainly sharks that want to come in here to do this, I'm scared, to be honest. So I've been working during early voting, getting signatures on petitions. One of the petitions strikes me as something that would be a good idea for this Development Commission to propose. That petition is to require any development, and I don't care whether it's commercial, residential, industrial, any development with a monetary value, a project monetary value of over $40 million, which is roughly the size of a HEB, okay? Any of those that want tax abatements need to get it from the voters. Not from Commissioner's Court, not from 5 people who could be waylaid by a sweet-talking developer sending them emails during Commissioner's Court. They need to get it from the voters. So, if we can accomplish something like that, we'll at least be on the first step of the ladder towards developing some serious regulations that data centers are going to have to measure up to before they can come in here and ruin our valley.
Okay. All right, so again, we've got the moratorium here. Gosh, this mic is terrible. And you want to walk us through your suggested changes here that you've got? And you might want to go up there. Yeah, that's a terrible mic.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
I'm sorry, I don't think I heard. When do you want to put that on the agenda?
That'll be totally dependent on public notice, which I think we should first make a motion vote on whether that's what we want to do, but it would require a 15-day notice, which is also hamstrung by Hood County News when they publish, which I think is once a week.
Once on Saturday.
On Saturday. Last time, we met December 30th and made a motion and passed it, and it didn't get on the court until February 10th. So 6 weeks, I think, is roughly what it took last time.
And what happened at the court?
They voted it down.
And for some state hierarchy?
There is
They were bamboozled.
it's a long story. It's good watching if you get some hard story. Go watch February 10th and February 24th, Commissioners Courts. Yeah.
Hey, Matt, let me just, we're limited somewhat because of the publication schedule of the Hood County News.
That's correct.
Could we put it in the Fort Worth Star Telegram? Would that make a difference?
I think it has to be in the county.
Local circulation.
In the county, technically, I didn't know.
Yep.
So,
How do we change
If
that?
Hood County News went out of business, we could do this.
We can post it on my
Thanks
Facebook.
for getting there.
So today's Thursday, so it would be,
We have to have it in Monday at noon is their deadline.
so which meeting would that put our request at?
So
Would that be
Monday,
like June 6th meeting, June 9th meeting?
It could, if
See,
it
where would
went
that
in,
be?
it would not get published until the 30th. And that would be less than 15 days for the June 9th. So it would push it to
it's 15 working days, is that correct, or 15
the
calendar?
15 calendar days. So that would be 9, 10, that would only be 10 days. We'd have to push it to the second court in June, which would be the 23rd.
And what is the 15th day, like if we call a special meeting as soon as we publish the notice?
So that would be, let's see, so we got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, the 15th of June.
That has to be to the paper this
It would have to be
Monday
to the paper
by
this
noon.
Monday, and we'd have to have our final draft fleshed out.
Yeah, that's.
Would we have to have the final
Excuse me.
draft flushed out?
But our local paper is a weekly, not a daily.
No, weekly on
Does
Saturdays.
that have a bearing on when you have to submit it?
It does.
Noon, Monday.
They have cutoff dates to do their print.
So,
Okay.
yeah, and then my question would be, do we have to have our final edits in by then, or do we just need to make notice?
No, we have to have, because we have to, I think we have to publish the language.
In the notice?
Yes, I think so.
and
Okay.
the other thing, we're having a real serious possibility about not even having a quorum.
In the first June,
Yeah,
that's correct.
We have a
Quorum of
conundrum
Commissioners Court.
with the court right
Yeah.
now.
Right.
For more than one meeting, too.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, and I see this a bit like a quarterback throwing the football where he knows the receiver's going to be. He can't see him, not sure he's going to catch it, but he's hoping he's going to be there.
Eventually, the court will be there.
Yeah.
Time for the timing
Yes, yeah, I'm going to throw the Hail Mary,
Uh-huh.
hopefully someone catches it. So I'm not going to walk through each of these specifically, but the general purpose behind every one of these edits was, one, change dates, and I don't know what those dates, like in the header, need to be,
Yeah.
but at some point those will need to be changed. There have been multiple moratoriums filed by counties that did not have to change anything in their regulations in order to do so. Prior, we had language in our moratorium where we were going to change some of our development regulations to theoretically allow us to do a moratorium. I don't think that's necessary. I also don't think it's necessary because the county has already done a moratorium in 1999. So I think there's precedence.
That moratorium was not challenged in the court.
Agreed.
And
And hopefully this one isn't either.
there are 2 moratoriums currently in place, also not challenged in the court yet.
Yep, understood, understood. So, there's also been moratoriums done for specific uses, and I was just saying, instead of attacking all industrial, which I know we don't really want to do, let's just come out and name the things we want to include in this moratorium. I also included language in there, like I touched on earlier, the fact that, you know, we're currently missing a director of development. That is a good reason for a moratorium.
Well, I have something to say also on that. Is, you know, when you have the situation at Canyon Creek with the Aqua Texas water treatment plant that it's undersized, and they haven't built the new one. They're at 45,000 gallons. The new one is at 115,000 gallons. So they're continuing to operate that, and houses are continuing to be built, and the sewage is spilling into the lake. That is not acceptable. So that's another thing that should be covered in the moratorium. That
It's
you know,
also
if
in a
there's
state of disrepair.
I agree with you on that. I don't know if we would include that, or as part of, my line of thinking was, as part of bringing this back to the court, is to point out that very issue that's going on. The reason they had the moratorium when we did the one back in 1999-2000 is because of all the effluent that was going into the lake from the deteriorating septic systems. And so
I think it's
it would
something
seem
that-
reasonable that, you know, not even for data centers, but look at what,
Yeah.
we're polluting the watershed, we're polluting Lake Granbury.
Yeah, in my mind, there should be a separate moratorium for septic systems in Canyon Creek. You know, that's definitely something that should.
no, that's a very good point, actually.
And whereas I don't think it necessarily should be included in this one, it could be a point during the
separate one.
presentation. And I think it should be a separate one as well.
Well, we might pass that one.
I have a question. How much of a hiccup is going to come out of the stop clock on this? I mean, that's clearly what they're trying to do. They're trying to use subsection, they're trying to use section 232 because of the stop clock in the legislation and everything. That's their effort to circumvent subchapter K in the first place. So how big of an obstacle do you believe the stop clock really is in all this?
Well, I personally don't think it's an obstacle because I don't think 232 applies to, I don't think these should be looked at as subdivisions. And so we're waiting on that. Another reason for the moratorium is we're waiting on that ruling.
And that may
You
be,
may want to consider, one of the things you see in a lot of these are the risk management plan. Risk includes a lot of the things that encompass that's being talked about. It was a very comprehensive plan. Without that, I would say it would be something that would support a moratorium more than a lot of the other things I'm hearing. Whereas if they had clearly identified what the risks are and how they plan to mitigate them, and what are the impact on the community, and what the level of the probability of risk. One of those, for example, would be a fire on ground. You know, these things, I mean, have anybody ever seen some of these go up in flames? This is big time stuff. And you know, putting items like that in the moratorium, then, you know, I would think would hit a nerve. That somebody needs to, somebody would need to say, yeah, we need to make sure these are addressed before moving
Right.
on.
And I have included an item that generally addresses that in here. And maybe I'll just run through the red stuff real quick.
yeah.
So we, in my opinion, we are showing good faith and that we have engaged an engineering firm to help address our regulation deficiencies. So I've added that in there.
I added that we previously did a moratorium in 1999. That I believe that it could be, an argument can be made that the county does have the implied authority through subchapter K to issue a moratorium. I added some of the items that have come into our checklist, like lodging logistics, foreign components from BESS units and things like that. Keep scrolling. The county requires time to understand the fire department and other emergency service requirements necessary to respond to catastrophes involving battery energy storage systems.
And that's,
And before that is, what is the probability of a fire?
Agreed, and I think
If they
that's,
don't tell you,
I think,
it's a major red flag.
sure, agreed. And I think that's part of our checklist, part of our new regulations, definitely. And
what I was going to say is, in here where you reference the fire departments and all of that is where I think would be a good area to then pick up some of that language from the Hill County moratorium.
What's the probability of a leak to the water table? You know, you've got lithium batteries, which you're probably going to have in your backup system. One of those leaks, what's the probability it's going to leak and enter into the water table? I mean, risk management is a big deal.
And trust me, these are all things that we've been.
If you like, I'd be glad to give you some language that you might.
So,
I don't know.
thanks. Yes, so in my mind, this is a bit like writing a resolution, and the goal is really to get something out. We have 45 minutes left in this meeting, so I think we should, personally, this is my opinion, we should look big picture and try to get it nice and neat. And if there's any major issues that we want to address, let's do it. If there's not many, then I would say when we get to that point, we should call motion.
Christine, you can scroll back, just look at right there in the red about the county judge and director of development. To be right, it should be family medical leave, not medical family leave.
Oh,
It's
FMLA.
So,
Yeah.
just that way nobody nitpicks in sort or at a later thing.
And I wasn't sure that we should actually include that. I think that it could be brought up as part of passing the moratorium, the current predicament. I didn't think it was right to put that in there.
I don't think it's going to help, because if it does get into litigation, then your opponent in litigation is going to say, well, that's not our problem. That's not something caused by us. You should have a system in place to deal with FMLA.
Right.
Christine, by the time this gets through, one or both may be back, so I would just leave that out. Let that be addressed.
The Council of County Governments has a document about absences of the judge or any one of the commissioners, and they frame everything based upon number of days that they're absent. So if it exceeds 30 days, then if they, like for example, if a judge is going to be out and they know they're going to be out, if they get to the time before 30 days is up, they could have appointed a residence to follow to take their duties. But in our case, these two positions are out for more than 30 days. So due to the fact that they're absent for more than 30 days, we think we should take this action. I think that's a good way to say it.
Well, there's not a lot of provisions in the government code on, because our HR and county attorney have been in contact with TAC on how we handle this situation. And there really isn't anything where we could come in like and appoint somebody else to fill in that role.
You can't do that, but you could get a moratorium based upon the fact that their absence has exceeded 30 days.
Right, and my thought is, though, my suggestion is not to actually have that in the moratorium language, but to address it as a point for the reason why it's even more essential to get this. So, I mean, I don't want to put it out there that, we know most people locally know that they're out, but I didn't.
Plus, if either or both come back by then that would definitely want to be struck. You wouldn't want,
Yeah.
Would you be
Does
okay
it
with
need to be in
striking
there at
that?
all?
No, that's my point, I just take it
I
out.
think take it out.
Yeah,
Let it be
that's-
addressed by the community speakers
One,
as emphasis.
one thing that I was thinking, I know you changed to,
Robert had an idea.
oh, yeah, go ahead, Robert, here.
So, in that section, but then it's on page 2.
It's throughout, so anywhere it used to say industrial, it now says data center and energy-based developments. So if we want to change it, we should change it throughout.
My thought is replace the old industrial and amend the current amendment of data center and energy-based. After data center, we need to use the definitions that we previously adopted and sent to the county for cryptocurrency, for power plants, for
Okay.
that list. That way it's just stays consistent with what we've tried to do.
Okay.
Pull that up.
Yeah, I can pull those up.
You could probably just do a find
Matt,
search to replace.
I was going to give a brief on that.
Where are you?
Part 77, that with the information that I present, this may impact your moratorium or ad verbiage.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, that was under new business, let me find the,
yeah, I signed up under this new business.
Yeah.
I think this was the definitions. Here we go. This is what we added. AI data center, cryptocurrency mining facility, and data center and industrial.
And then didn't we, in a subsequent meeting, define power plant, solar farm? I thought we did.
We didn't add it, I don't think it was added, we didn't do it as a regulation change. This is what went through on the court.
Yeah.
Was this. And I kind of like the way.
So, yeah, sorry.
Did you see what Hill County, the way that they addressed it? How they characterized it?
Didn't we somewhere say, like, it was, don't go to the definitions, go to where we adjusted.
Maybe not 3F.
Yeah, because we said like data centers, power plants, like we named a number of things.
Okay, let's see.
I think that's in the modification.
I think you're right.
This was the concept plan regulation?
Nope, nope,
Site plan?
nope.
Because those are the three orders that came
Well, then,
out
yeah,
of the court.
then it must be just at the top of the one you were just on.
With the other definitions.
No, that's the,
That was all the concept plan stuff.
yeah, go back to the one you were just on, that had the definitions on it.
Let's see.
And scroll to the top. Okay, go down, down, down. 5.3F or whatever, right there. That's where we did.
That's where we went to the.
Yeah, so where it says, for all AI data centers, crypto mining facility uses, and then it says, structures, power plants, wind turbines, inclusive of parking. I mean, I'm okay with leaving it as a little broader, but,
So what did,
Not
what was your
as specific as
suggestion?
easier to pass.
then I would say
What do you want to?
data centers, power plants, energy storage, or battery storage.
So data center.
Data center, power plants, which in my mind,
Power and water, there could be water plants as well.
solar farm is a power plant.
Power, water,
Power plants, data center,
and in water treatment.
permits for data centers, power plants,
You could
battery
say power
energy
and
storage.
process.
Battery energy, oops,
Crypto mining facilities.
battery energy storage systems, and crypto mining facilities.
What did, 9 that just passed
Hill.
Hill, what were they
Yeah.
going against?
I kind of like what they said, like power generating facilities.
So battery energy storage, data processing or data center facilities, large-scale power generation facilities, associated substations. They said a moratorium on the commencement of certain large-scale industrial construction activities related to battery energy storage, data processing facilities, large-scale power generation facilities. I thought they had something to do with, maybe it was Van Zandt Green Energy.
They were the ones that did the green energy.
Yes.
That was Van Zandt.
Well, 5 megawatts is tiny. So, what
Yeah,
Hill
it
County
is
would
tiny.
catch,
Yes.
I mean, that, like even a house, like a roof full, it's like 20.
Yeah.
So that's sort of how they go around that. So you use a super small number. Like 75 is kind of the cutoff permitting wise.
Right.
So
So in our case,
Do you want to put in a megawatt
I
size
don't-
in there?
I don't think we should. I think it, we're healing a bleeding wound right now. And I don't care so much about the type of stitch, it just needs to stop bleeding. So data centers, power plants, battery energy storage systems, crypto mining facilities. I mean, I would love to have solar in there, even though I think solar falls under power plant.
Also falls under energy-based development.
Yeah, to say energy-based development.
Well,
That would
I
take
think,
care of wind
I think
and
we're talking about getting rid of energy-based developments.
How about power generation and power storage?
Power, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what power plants and battery energy storage. Maybe it could be more generic.
I like power generation.
And
What if you put process plants in there as well?
Are you good with power generation instead of power plants, or do you want to say?
I would stick with the
power
language we have
we
for
have in ours.
consistency. It's just
Okay.
my opinion that it becomes
Let's-
easier to work with because
let's-
it's familiar and it's maybe the direction.
Okay, so we
It's
said
cohesive.
on our, let's see what we did on our definitions.
yeah, it's right there. So it says AI data centers and crypto mining facilities, and then it goes on to say it includes building structures, power plants, or wind turbines inclusive of parking. And that's really all we changed there.
Where do you see wind turbines?
It was in,
That's it.
It's in there.
Oh, down here. No, that's,
it's not in the definitions.
It's under the 5.3F.
So how does a developer or an owner prove
Oh,
that he's not violating Section K? Your morals, your welfare, what are they providing you that says, we're not doing this?
nothing.
They're providing us very little because we're a county and,
So they give you a conceptual plan, a development
That's
plan,
it.
but nowhere in there is there something that says, these are the things that the law says we have to do.
we have created a new checklist for new projects that are required to give us some of that information.
Okay.
The old stuff, no one was required, and we've asked for some of that information. I say we, the Commissioners Court has asked for additional information which we have not received. So,
For me, that's a solid basis for the moratorium, that
Well, that's been the argument, and we have a divide on the court with
Okay.
some commissioners.
I don't mean to
Yeah,
drag you guys through history already, it's probably.
yeah, but
I
that's.
think
the
these
problem.
developers need to show that what they're going to do is not going to endanger the watershed.
There should be some compliance statement or something in there.
which is the basis for all of this.
Yes.
Absolutely, yes.
We were severely behind the times on this in our development office.
It was a three,
Was really not looking out for the future of us. approving
And
this.
they,
Some thought they didn't even have to give a concept plan.
Yeah.
Some were approved without a
in
concept plan.
the court.
Now they're trying
When the
to
strategic plan
reach
was
back into
adopted,
history.
I have
Just
it.
recently.
Not just here, it's everywhere in the United States. We're gonna find that.
The freezing Nichols.
Oh, that was a unanimous vote.
So, if you look at it, that the subject case says that without adequate development regulations, it's established that we don't have adequate regulations. And the court has unanimously, and I'm just saying, whereas we don't have adequate regulations, and whereas the court has unanimously approved developing these new regulations, and the phases for these new regulations, for the development of the new regulations are in 6-month tranches. Phase 1, 6 months, phase 2, 6 months, phase 3, 6 months, phase 4, 6 to 9 months, whatever. That's 2.5 years of study that they have essentially approved that needs to be occur so that we will have adequate regulations. So that a moratorium just fits right into it. The idea that they have recognized
I think,
the need.
I think the bulk of that argument is in here with us not having adequate regulations and the fact that we have hired Freeze and Nichols.
Right, I think
But I think the remainder of that is a verbal argument.
And the other portion of that is that within the Freeze and Nichols proposal, there is a subchapter for an effort that circumvents going to 3 and 4 and does a quick down and dirty to give you rules and regulations so you can stop certain things.
Right.
That's in 1.4, which was not approved, but potentially that is something that we could recommend down there. Whatever.
Right, and kind of what our directive has been to them is to, we want them to give us what we would consider some triage regulations.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they've listed.
Yeah.
And I think that is, the prudent thing to do would be to move forward with that. We're getting whatever the cost would be for this to do.
Well, it's $130,000. We've approved
For the
them
next-
to do phase 1, $130,000.
But
It's been approved.
1.4 is the change order. That's above and beyond.
We have only approved phase 1 for $130,000, and we give them the directive in one of our meetings here to do what we would call triage regulations that more specifically kind of address what we're dealing with right now.
And the fact that the freezing study is going forward is,
Yeah. Okay, so
I would like to make sure we somehow capture green energy, solar, wind, and just green energy, is that too vague? Or she would say,
What do we have?
just don't go wrong. Here we go.
So Van Zandt used that, but Hill did not.
you shouldn't feel that way. You should feel it's too cold.
I don't feel that.
I will say, since we got the 10%, I'm not aware of any new projects coming in.
there have been no new projects, right?
I was your side here.
Yeah,
Since that,
yeah.
that was excellent.
Put it in there.
It's my opinion. You can just say wind and solar.
The problem is, like, that, written like that, may very well, individual.
Thank you, I hope to see you on Tuesday. Thank you so much.
Oh, right, yeah, I would think this is industrial.
I mean, you could be,
Non-residential solar.
Yeah, right. Well, even
What do y'all want me to put in here?
at the airport, they probably have it on the building. That would be in commercial buildings as well. I would look at it as back into the power generation. There's got to be a way to calculate.
We have, hey,
That was kind of.
can you say, can we just generically say large scale?
Yeah, large scale, and that
Large
is,
scale wind and solar.
Are you sure you don't want to leave industrial in there? Because when on industrial, we say buildings of at least 10,000 square feet in our definition. So if we, for industrial, we could say industrial developments including Data centers, power plants?
The problem is that
Yeah.
any permit that came forward.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying.
So you want to leave industrial out of there, just have?
I think this captures it. I just want to get wind and solar on there.
Okay,
I just
so
want to make sure
data
we have
centers.
large scale.
Well, I think the word large scale is the medium.
You can use utility, use that.
Utility scale?
Yeah, utility scale.
That's a nuance. That's a nice. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so what, so.
Because what could happen is you could term every homeowner as a
Right.
violation of code.
So what are we saying, utility scale power plants?
Yeah, because we're not saying what the megawatts, so we're not drawing a line, so we would have to work.
All right. Let's, okay, utility scale,
Power plants?
utility scale solar,
Oh, okay, so we'll just leave power
leave power
plants.
plants.
Battery energy storage systems, utility, okay, I'm gonna take out,
Utility,
I'm gonna go crypto.
Go on and see if this can get better.
Crypto mining facility, crypto mining facilities, and utility scale. Wind and solar.
And then you can
Developments.
and then you can get rid of.
Oh, look at that, it's like automatically striking it out. That's really cool. Okay.
That was cool.
But then let me like save that.
And so
Okay.
then
Find and replace everywhere.
every one of those.
Okay, so we'll do that. Okay. Did you look at any of the other changes? Do you have any, or are you working through them?
we wanted
Okay,
to
so
take out.
everyone right here, so anywhere you have data center, energy, and
Yeah,
energy
we'll
base,
change it.
we're gonna change it to what we put in the title.
Did we remove the one about the judge and development representative?
Yes, I struck that out, got that. Okay, can we argue that this county has,
Whereas it can be argued that this specific county has the applied authority to issue a moratorium.
I think it's,
It has been argued.
I think it's actually expressive authority.
I do too, that's why I don't think.
I don't think I would say,
I don't think that.
so you wanted to strike, you want to strike that?
It's a point of contention.
Yeah, that's not exactly.
Yeah, they would have to agree.
Don't.
Issue again.
Don't.
Okay, traffic waste management, lodging, logistics, I like that. Pollution, foreign components, I like that. Are you good with that, Robert? Lodging, logistics, foreign components?
I just added stuff that we have been adding to our checklist.
I think that's.
Because we added the LIPSA and SIPSA.
I mean, having the Lone Star sort of covers your foreign components portion, but I think it's fine.
Okay, it's not deflecting from it or taking away from it.
No, I don't think so. It's just kind of explaining it.
Let's see.
No changes in.
Yeah, this is from, okay, so we're gonna change that to what we put in the
Yeah.
title. Okay, and then here's where I'm suggesting we pick up the language
Hill
from
County.
Hill County. And I kind of like from there, whereas, you got a copy of it.
I've got it.
Rural emergency response system, including volunteer fire departments, emergency medical, was that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, like from the first page, I kind of like, you know, it says the court's responsible for the road, bridges, infrastructure, floodplain. I mean, I kind of like all of their paragraphs on it.
Right.
I mean, all of it. And then all the way up to the health and safety code on page 2. Like all of those paragraphs. Are you good with that?
I don't,
Okay.
I mean, I would change Hill County to Hood County.
Well, of course. Yeah. On there, did you want to include any of what, I mean, I don't know about including their applicability, purpose, and all of that. I mean, we kind of set forth. And they're doing 12 months.
12 months.
Yeah, they went for 12 months.
I think that's appropriate. Y'all want to say?
I've got it written as 7. I think 12 is appropriate. I don't know if.
I think 7 and 12 is the same thing. I mean, it's a moratorium.
I would most definitely recommend 3. Which that's
Three?
always been, I think 3 is
You
maybe
think possibly, but a small town, south of Benton, a little small.
any moratorium is better than no moratorium. To have pretend goals actually get what we need to keep the county's zone kind of gap measure.
Okay.
But their first deliverable was 6 months, and they haven't started. Basically,
Well, we
just
told them
started.
in here we needed it in June, a draft, because
We do.
if that does not happen, we may not have anything for 2 years from now, because they're gonna pay by the toll. If they're gonna get paid by the time, and they're not gonna be in any hurry.
Ma'am, can I suggest we come back to duration? Like, let's work on edits and let's have a longer conversation about duration.
Okay.
Why can't you just say until such time as the engineering study is completed?
That's open.
That wouldn't work.
Open-ended.
That wouldn't fly.
Okay. Robert, what are your feelings on, we mentioned in here that the Texas Attorney General has been asked for an opinion?
I mean, that's what's happened.
Okay.
I mean, he's busy right now, so, you know, I couldn't do things for a while.
What about this, we haven't received any additional information.
I think the court got Attorney General opinion that we'd asked for like 3 years ago the other day.
Yeah.
Oh, really? 3 years? Wow.
My concern about what we presented to the Attorney General did not go into it just kind of glazed over subject matter. There wasn't anything that, of the merits of that and the direct impact on the county that we are facing as a result of this barrage of new concerns.
I agree.
So
But
it
for-
really was, it was a weak.
But I think, agreed, but as part of our argument is like, we've reached out, like.
It's kind of like the declaration, like we have filed
That's
grievances.
exactly what it's
I'm
like.
with you.
I mean,
Yeah,
we're
that's
trying
exactly
to
what
get
it's
an
like.
answer here, but
Yeah.
everybody
Okay,
can't.
so what about this about we've not received additional information? I mean, we could end up getting more information. Do we need to point that in? Do you want to leave that in there or strike it?
I don't think that has any relevance.
That was kind of my thought.
Let's strike it then.
Okay, let's strike that.
Sorry for saying that, but
I don't think they're going to voluntarily start complying.
I like this, that it is unclear on these type of projects.
Yeah, that's in litigation.
And the legislature is now studying the issue. I mean, it'd be nice to hear what the legislature says. Maybe.
They're not going to issue anything before they're in session.
That's what I'm saying. They're not in session.
Okay.
Okay. I was trying to see if they had anything where they kind of talked about. Talked about that in here. Okay.
They mostly kept it really hyper-focused on themselves. Are you talking about what Hill County did?
Yeah.
They really tried to keep it out of like the global and really keep it internal, basically trying to say, we're behind, we're at fault, we failed, you know, we've been caught flat-footed, and therefore that's why this remedial action. That's kind of how I read their thing, is it's like, we're admitting
And
we're totally incompetent. And I think you'd maybe hard pressed to get our commissioners to go that far, to be honest with you. I mean, I found out something today, I'm like.
Well, I think the
Are we
fact that
comfortable
they've
with this
agreed
sentence here?
to spend money on updating their plans show that they have been remiss in updating it if they haven't upgraded since 2000. So we're 27 years behind having, I mean, it's like they've been going without insurance for 27 years, hoping they didn't have a fire. I mean, it doesn't make sense. I mean, that's how feasible.
Government it does.
Yeah.
Do this part about Texas local government code that governs the permitting. Is there even a government code that governs permitting of these large-scale facilities?
No.
So there's, what about 245? Because is that the one that Bencourt wrote that said that?
That has, yeah, that's permitting. Local 245 is permitting.
245, but
We're saying it's unclear because we're trying to review it under 232 and.
Do you want to be specific, or do we want to just say where statutes that govern this stuff is unclear, or? Or do you want to leave it like that is?
Or because we're in litigation over it.
Right. I'm not passionate about it, I just, this was an item, just kind of adding.
We've been sued about that.
But we're adding things to create a message. It's not that any point is going to stand alone. It's going to be all the conditions that are added together that aggregate to give a position, and the position is that we need to do this.
Yep, and I'll just suggest that we keep moving.
Just leave it like that?
Yeah, because I think.
I don't, okay, so we put 7 months.
If that, I would say if that's the last point to discuss, let's discuss it, because I think we're going to talk for a while about that.
What do you think?
Is there anything else?
No, we're going to change that to the title, and then we took the amendments out because we're not asking for a regulation amendment. So I thought everything else, and again, we'll change that to how we titled it at the beginning. And then we took that out. Again, we'll change that to the title.
I added the word "or contractor" because it could be the case that the director of development is not an employee.
Right. We'll change that, just how we titled it. Same thing there, same thing there. Okay, if we decide on 7, and then you said extended in 6 months, and maybe we should, that might be where we want to put it to 3 months or something.
I would be open to that as if we did the 7-month moratorium with 3-month extensions.
Okay.
Instead of 6-month extensions.
Can everyone agree with that?
The reason I did a 7-month sounds kind of awkward, but I thought it would be a little bit awkward if we had a moratorium expire right before we were literally about to change administrations almost. And so this would give people a little bit more clarity moving forward as to when the changeover would
What is
happen.
7 months out from this January?
Yeah,
And that's when.
and 6 months would almost do it if it's the last meeting.
If it takes them a while to get it passed.
Right. So in my mind, I wanted a 7-month, and then with the ability to extend if necessary, based on what we're working with freezing nickels and those things.
Can you concede 7 months? Or?
No, I would not concede 7 months because I don't think 7 months can pass. I just don't think there should be appetite. I think 3 months could be and get possibly freezing nickels. There's time to get something to us.
And I'll reach out to them.
That is purely, I mean, that is a practical, how do we get something done?
Yeah, I don't think I'd come off 7. So like if I made a motion, I would motion for 7.
Make a motion for 7.
And you have your voting right. But,
Yeah.
Key is to get it passed. Key is to get this passed.
Yeah, I understand.
Well, if you
just
have an
raised
extension
3.
period,
Can you can agree
and
to 3
Friesen
month
Nichols has not
extensions?
completed their,
I would do 3 months and 3 months extensions.
Okay, well, I can at least change the 3 months extensions, so we'll change that.
I don't know, that could motivate the developers to like be ready.
That would hopefully motivate freezing nickels and the commissioners to get ready. I think the problem is the commissioners, because they did not take action for so long, they've been sort of lulled into non-action. And we need development regulations that work and that are put together in a professional way that can possibly be followed by county staff. And I think the only way to get that done is to create some kind of time pressure into that system, because the way governments work is they never want to do anything. The employees don't want to do anything, and the politicians don't want to do anything.
Well, the 6 months would allow for a better result.
If it doesn't pass, we're going to be in the same position, and freezing nickels may not be in any hurry. We're going to be in budget cycle, and we may not have any rules until you get past.
Do you think the commissioners that have been opposed to the moratorium would be more amenable to 3 months?
I think and that's truly where I'm coming from, is that 3 months is maybe possible.
How about 4 or 5?
They can debate that, but I think if you go 7, you're gonna get.
I don't disagree with you, Robert, that 3 might be more palatable. My thought is that the reasons they've objected so far has not been the duration.
It's been that they don't feel like the law allows us to do that.
And my hope is that, hey, things are even more dire than they were the first 2 times we came.
The argument for the short is that if you pass it and you do a 3-month, before you even get wrapped into litigation, it will be over. And hopefully you have new rules, nothing else could have been filed, and that you're ready to deal with the world as it comes.
Yes, I also, and potentially like you'd be having to make a decision on extension, like 1 month into your 3-month moratorium potentially, because of notice and things like that.
Once again, that builds the time pressure I think that is needed on the freeze and Nichols to get something done. And until then, during the time pressure, they're not going to do anything because they're just going to build. That's what
that's
government
disheartening.
contractors do.
Okay, I don't think that's what's going on. They are working and we've given them some direction and I will follow up with them tomorrow.
They've been attending.
They charge to attend.
Okay, we've got to be out of here in 11 minutes, so, and I wanted Mike to be able to speak.
If you submitted a moratorium, let's say it was 7, and would they be able to discuss, if somebody asked them, and yes or no, if this would be reduced to 4?
And we could make that change in court. We could motion.
So that's what I'm saying.
It would be an option that we could make a motion to, okay, we adopt the moratorium with the change that it's reduced down to 3 months. So they could make a motion and change it, just like we did on some of these.
So that could be an idea to be positioned.
Then in that case, I'll make a motion, if we're done here with adjustments, I make a motion that we do 7-month moratorium with a 3-month extension. That is our recommendation to the court.
Can I add one more thing?
Sure.
7 months gets us to what?
January
27.
Is there going to be members of that court think this is a political move? If we move it to 6 months, a round number. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can see that. And for me, it's not a political move so much as it's like a continuity of government almost move with the missing members and things like that. I'm okay with going down to 6 months if we feel like that's.
You know what I'm saying? I just don't want somebody to say, hey, they're just trying to get this out to give the administration change.
Again, it was less about administration change as it was like.
That may actually pick up a vote nobody's thinking about, to be that strange.
It's 6 months.
The 7 month, if it's one particular member to live in the court, I prefer to not have to argue about it anymore.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a good.
So in other words, flipping the coin on that.
Yeah.
Well, if this is a sticking point, I need a motion.
All right, I'll make a motion.
I second for 7 months.
7
Or
months.
3-month extension.
Okay, so we're gonna,
I think that's
let
gonna
me undo.
I think it's gonna pickle it. The 7. I think they're gonna say it's political.
They can,
I think they will.
they can adjust it if they want to adjust it.
And that could be positioned too.
Yeah, but
Okay,
like
so
they're
we
on
have
the
a
fight.
motion on the table to recommend the moratorium for 7 months and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so 7 months it is on a 3-to-1 vote. Okay,
Do you want
now,
That's great.
Because I wanted
I do, but let's then, and so then let's now have a motion
Yeah,
to
they
adopt this with the noted changes and,
Right, for sure.
okay. So I make a motion that we adopt the moratorium language with the noted changes that we've worked on here in this meeting.
A second.
Okay. Any discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, 4-0. Thank you. Okay, come on. We've got about 10 minutes. You want to come up and
Sure.
please do share this? We're moving on to new business.
My name is Mike Hussack. I live in Pecan Plantation. I just want to give you a little brief on 14 CFR Part 77. That is the minimum. It's a federal rate. That is the minimum. It protects public use airports only. What the FAA is concerned about is their Core 30 airports. That's what they watch for construction, for impediments to air traffic safety. If you go through Part 77, you will find everything referenced is at the local level outside of the Core 30 airports. The Core 30 airports are like DFW, Atlanta, Chicago, San Francisco, JFK. Granbury doesn't quite have the impact that the others do. So it is incumbent upon the local government to set up zoning and restrictions. You have it in the power, your power, to require each of these data centers to go on the website by the OEG, obstacle evaluation, and do a pre-screen. Again, it is for public use airports only. That does not include any of the private airports down in Somerville, Pecan, the landings, but it's in your power to make them comply with those. And there's 5 impact areas. The very first one is anything over 200 feet. You probably saw my little tete-a-tete with Matt Mills. Matt Mills looked at the very first impact and said it doesn't apply, none of them are over 200 feet. That doesn't preclude going through that pre-screen. What I suggest that you do is make zoning, for example, any airport, public or private use, have some sort of zoning or restriction on all of what you just said around any airport in Hood County. That restricts the area that they can develop in. Was it Pacifico there just south of Pecan? Yeah, you put in a zone. You can't build here. You can't build within a certain radius of the airport. Boom, it's done. Now, how you go about doing that, I'm not sure. But that is a minimum. It is up to the county or the municipality or the state to restrict the building in their local jurisdiction. Unfortunately, the FAA gets involved after there's an incident or an accident. One of the things that they look at in the 5 impact areas are heat plumes. Another is reflections, flash blindness, and what they call spurious electronic emissions. And the spurious electronic emissions, I've spoken to frequency management with the FAA, with these data centers, with these power lines, with the solar. It's also new. They don't know what's going to happen for communications interruptions, radar reflections, or navigation such as GPS or land-based interference until it's in place. That's the only way they can check it because they have no modeling on this. So what was emphasized to me by the EOG, or the OEG and frequency management is it's up to us to stop it, not the FAA. After something has been built and it causes a problem, then they'll get involved. So it's all on us. As far as Matt Mills and his recommendations, when I spoke to the folks in Washington and Fort Worth, they see this every day. They have a lawyer that come in, they look, and it's not over 200 feet. And they don't go any further. But that's not everything. Once they fill it out, if there is an impact, in the pre-screening. Then it goes to all these other people. So what I wanted to emphasize is that it is incumbent upon us. Our 77 is the minimum, you guys are the maximum. And if Matt has been giving advice like this on this simple thing, what other advice has he given that's crap?
So how do you recommend that we handle this, since it is going to be on us?
What I would do is very simple. You guys pick the distance. You go around the geographic center of each airport, a distance, 5 miles, 10 miles, 15 miles, and spell it out. Statute, nautical. Aviation uses nautical miles. Me, I'd say no building any of this stuff within a 10 nautical mile radius or a 10 nautical mile boundary of the airport proper can have any of this stuff in it and be done. Now, can you get the commissioner's court to approve it? I don't know. But that would wipe out, depending on how far you go. If you go from the boundary 10 miles out, 10 nautical miles out, from Granbury, you're out, is it Comanche Circle and Patriot, Pacifico, and you identify that it's any airport, public or private. As far as using the airport boundary, that's fine for some place like Granbury, but trying to figure out the airport boundaries on Pecan or the landings. If you use a geographical center, then I would extend it out a little bit further because of the length of the runways. If you use the geographical center, however long that runway is, you lose that much. So you could do 15 miles. But that would wipe out a lot of these data centers, solars, with Clint approving Rain Lily. I don't know if anything can be done with that or not, other than force them to fill out that
7460.
7460-1 and do the pre-screen. But again, it's for public use. You guys have the power to make it for any airport.
Do we have anything presently that's encroaching, like on Granbury Regional Airport?
It's 20,000 feet and
3.78 miles.
Yeah.
So all of the bilateral energy in the Knox Ranch and all that is in the zone. It's in the bad zone.
Yeah.
So, but
and I
nothing's
think
in the
it-
zone right now, but if that project goes in, it would be in the zone.
Yes, that's right.
And I think, is it Patriot that's up on the north side? Is it
That
also
Patriot
called-
is the bilateral energy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would be in. Essentially, the final approach fix for the GPSs are typically 5 miles from the threshold of the runway. So 20,000 feet, they're inside the final approach fix, which is the most critical area.
Right.
Because that's where you are coming down.
Right.
And you're also in the exhaust plume area for a power plant that's using the gas turbines.
Yes, that could be a problem too. That's another thing that they will look at.
Can I just elaborate that with the amount of gigawatts currently proposed on that site, it's going to be larger than any power plant currently operating in Texas?
Yes, and
Yeah.
there's
Well,
a
that's
case
the other
of,
thing when I spoke to frequency management. They have no idea what's going to happen with spurious. You know what spurious electronic emissions are? That's random signals that go out.
Interfering.
Interference, yes, very good. So they won't know until it's in place. I asked him specifically about Rain Lily, and he said, well, we don't know. I said, well, what about the BESS systems? We don't know.
There's 2 BESS sites at Meacham Airport right now. They're on the airport facility.
Yes, now, when they're built on a facility, that's a whole other section.
Yeah.
And there is an unbelievable amount of stuff that goes in to approve those. We're not talking about on an airport. Now, where they run into a problem, go ahead. Go ahead, what was your question?
No, it's okay.
Yeah, when they build on an airport, there's a whole bunch of stuff, and one of the things that, where they actually run into major problems is when something fails, an insulator. And that was part of my job, was tracking down, it's called radio frequency interference. And that, they don't know, when GPS came in, we didn't know what was going to affect GPS signals. We spent months and hundreds of thousands of dollars chasing an intermittent GPS signal interference in the St. Louis area. What we found out was an unshielded plastic welder at an auto body shop.
Wow.
And that took, there were 3 offices, Battle Creek, Atlanta, and Oklahoma City chasing that down. And like I said, they just do not know what's going to happen with this. Maybe okay, and maybe not. It's like Matt Nilsson, yeah, this doesn't affect us. Maybe he's right. How do we know? We don't until we make them do it.
Well, and it's a situation where the last thing we would want is for there to be a tragedy, only to learn that it was something like that caused it. It's kind of like, you know, you have an intersection and you have enough wrecks at it, they finally decide they're going to put in a traffic.
And that's how the FAA works.
Yeah.
They come in after the fact. Rain lilies come right off the end of the lanes.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and it's up to you guys. It costs the developer nothing to fill this out and say it won't affect anything. I mentioned to Nanette, I said, put it in the checklist, and if you don't submit it with the concept plan, there's a $250,000 fine. Make these people pay what you're getting paid and these commissioners. They come in here, they go ahead. How much does it cost them to file a concept plan? Nothing. Charge them $150,000, $250,000 just to submit the damn thing. You know, how many people's, what's time value of all these people? The commissioner's court. Let them pay. Right now, they submit it, and the people of Hood County are footing the bill, doing all the research. Yeah.
I appreciate I know you all have done a lot of research on.
Well, I just wanted to give you a brief and make y'all understand. The FAA is not going to help you until there's a tragedy.
So one thing I want to say about the approach to the Granbury Airport is that when you start that initial approach phase, you're at your highest point. But you have to remember that it's right over Comanche Circle, which is going to have how many gigawatts of power? Does anybody know that number off the top of their head? 4 gigawatts of power. Okay, all of Comanche Peak Nuclear Power Plant is 3.8. So they're going to be doing it with gas-fired turbines. So you're going to get this big exhaust plume. Then somebody's going to be setting up their approach. They're in their critical phase of flight when the airplane is at the slowest, closest to its stall speed, and they're going to hit those exhaust plumes from bilateral energy. So you are going to have fatalities. There is no doubt, and we can prevent all of it. And it's just one form that gets interjected into the concept plan procedure.
Well, there's a problem with that. It's outside of 20,000 feet.
Which one? The Comanche Circle? Yes, and that's why I spent time with Mr. Burns over the weekend.
Yeah.
We spent about 3 days, and he composed that beautiful letter to the Public Utility Commission about that.
This
document was like this thing.
Yes, exactly. And so I spent a lot of time with him just getting it focused, because I couldn't focus it down to Granbury. I couldn't focus it down to the county. I'm like, you know, this is a bigger issue with the dinosaur switch and the transmission lines. Sorry about that.
The 765 kV, I asked frequency management about that. They said, we don't have a clue. We haven't seen one. We don't know what it's going to do.
And, you know, I made my India and China comment because I looked up those 765 lines, like, where are they in use? Well, they're in poverty-stricken countries. You know, why are we even thinking about doing that?
Well, I hope I gave you some good information to at least ponder.
Yes.
It's not a silver bullet, I'm sorry. But it gives you something to work from, and you can incorporate that to all the projects. That's up to you.
I think also that the county, like, you have a chance to look at things in the aggregate, because TCEQ is issuing permits just in a little microcosm, one project at a time. They do not see it as a large system or an aggregate cumulative effect. And at the county level, you can see that.
All right, well, thank you all.
Do you have any questions?
Any questions?
Sure we will. I know where you live.
We know where you live. We've got your number. Thank you very much, Mike.
You're very welcome.
All right, we're supposed to be out of here at 8 o'clock. It's 8:09. We'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting.
What Mike came up with is the only thing that
Check out.